Okay, what I want to do, I've been in a lot of different classrooms, seen a lot of experienced teachers, and what I want to do is just share some of their management tips and strategies for an effective classroom and great classroom management that I've seen. The middle school classroom, especially, you need an effective learning environment. When those students walk in the door, they have to feel safe, secured. It has to be structured. They want to be comfortable in the learning environment. They want to enjoy themselves, but they want structure. Now, what you need is you need to have belief. The best teachers that I see, they really believe in themselves. They love their subject. They have a passion. They believe their curriculum is is the best for the students, and and that just conveys it. And they have they the students then will believe in you. And what we don't want is, I don't know, I can't do this, but this isn't working, but this would be better. You can't use those type of words. You can't say, I can't. Really, when you can't or you're saying those words, then the students, that sort of transfers right to them. Just, they have to believe that you know and you really feel passionate about your subject area. The next thing is when students walk in your room, there's no other way to do it. You're going to have a consistent classroom environment, and consistency is the key. Every day, start it, end it. Sure, you're going to have a lot of different types of teaching, but you have to be consistent in your procedures. You don't want a classroom that looks something like this. And I have been in classrooms, and you can tell the teacher's desk what it looks like as soon as it walks in. There's no way there's consistent learning going on in this classroom. Your classroom, you have to have a seating arrangement. You need procedures. Great teachers have an opening activity, a buy-in, whatever you want to call it. Good teachers plan, they focus on a few objectives, a few standards, they hit those standards, make sure the students understand them, have some, type of closure at the end, and they don't rush. And what I mean by they don't rush is they make sure that these procedures and these activities and the way their classroom is run is the students understand this early on, and they try to, that you can tell it's just an inspired classroom when those students walk in. And you want to do this within the first few weeks of the school year. It's more important to, not to rush and just think, wow, I need to get through all this information I have. You have to create procedures and structure early on. Setting up a classroom, a lot of teachers have a focal point with BYOD and one-to-one devices. Teachers are going to be walking around the classroom a lot more. Maybe they won't have a focal point like they used to, but you're still going to be in charge. You are in charge. Technology doesn't create issues or problems. It's still the classroom management. So from day one, you want to set the environment that you're going to have in your classroom, and of course you can change it up. If you feel like you have some students that need a little bit more need, sure, you know where you sit, where you do most of your teaching from. You want to make sure you have those students close to you. Now, discipline by itself, what I mean by this, a power struggle, do not argue with an 11 or 12-year-old. You want to have procedures, you have expectations that over time will become accepted in your environment. You just want to keep finding leaders in your classroom and giving positive reinforcement. Sure, you're going to have some trouble along the way, but you want to have high expectations. Classroom procedures are non-negotiable. You should have 3 to 5 specific procedures that students know this is the way you run your classroom. Raising your hand to participate would be a good one. Another one I've seen is as soon as students come in the room, they pull out their notebook, their engineering notebook, whatever it is, they start to warm up. There are students that finish before that bell rings. That's what you want. When I see a well-run classroom, that's what will happen. There shouldn't be any individual discussion. When they walk in your room, they need to get ready to work. And another one might be no one leaves the lab until it's completely cleaned up. No one should leave the classroom until however they found it, that's how they should leave it. Don't have rules like be nice, be polite, be kind, okay? A little bit ambiguous. You want specific procedures, and remember, they're non-negotiable. This is your classroom. It's like your house. You run it your way. Next, you want to create a routine. This is going to give you consistency. Reward examples that you want over and over and over again. Practice it. Show students what you need to do and be consistent. You can't drop the ball. You have to keep being consistent, and it will become a routine for the students. You need that opening activity. You have to create a routine. I've seen people use attendance magnets. Notebooks are out. Sharpen your pencils. You don't want somebody 2 minutes in the class saying, I need a pencil, I need a pen. You have to have that routine. Eliminate side conversation as soon as they come in. Start walking around, taking a look at their opening activity. You need warm-ups. You need objectives. You need to be consistent, but they can be different types of opening activities, not the same boring thing every day. And with a short period, it should be tied to your instruction. That opening activity should take you right into that instruction, lead you in. Okay, you're going to create a culture that's welcoming. The only way you're going to do that is to make sure that you have a good plan, and you're going to have backup plans. I can't tell you how many times people use the excuse, well, the internet didn't work, well, this didn't work. You're going to have a backup plan. Just do something. It might not work, but you're the teacher. You're in charge there. Figure something else. Don't blame others, okay? That's what the way real life happens. And you want to teach students that regardless of what happens, you're going to get something done that day. You're going to be effective that day. You don't want to rush. Once again, at the beginning of the school year, you got to create this routine. It's vital. You need to expose students to different types of settings and create rigid guidelines. For example, sometimes, early on, you probably want to have an example of a day in the lab, individual work, group work, whatever you're planning on doing throughout the year, and then you're going to show those students how they should be acting in that type of setting, and because you're going to have different settings in the classroom. So make sure you work on that from day one. Some good suggestions that I've seen very effective teachers have is some teachers address the students as soon as they walk into the classroom. Good morning, whatever it is, try to be positive. But 100% of the time, students need to be quiet before you talk. Maybe some attention tool. I've seen people clap or whistle or whatever it may be, but too much of that isn't any good either. Students should know. You are going to have to call home. You're going to have to call parents or make phone calls if that continues to happen. And you don't want to ask questions with undesired answers. You won't want to say, hey, if you can't act right today, you can just leave. Or if that's the way you're going to be, you're not going to be in my class. Do you want moved? Don't get frustrated. And, we all do, but try not to ask those type of questions. And you don't need to convince your students that your way is the correct way. If you're fair, you're firm, you're consistent, it's your way. And you want to try to begin class on a positive note and end it. Something positive, good work today, whatever was accomplished. You want to make them feel good when they leave their classroom so they can think something positive because they'll be coming to you the next day. Next is good teachers inspire. They give interventions, positive communication, positive reward, and probably the most important thing I always told my students was that I have a short-term memory. Whatever you do today, you make a mistake, tomorrow's a different day. We're really there to teach them that it's okay to fail, it's okay to make mistakes, the next day is a different day. And you want to try, and this is probably the hardest thing to do, is focus on the behaviors and not that student's personality. You can't look at them coming up the hallway and get all worked up. I know we've all done it. Also, another problem, don't be their friend. Okay? You're not their friend. You're there to provide them structure and learning. Now, and I have here, welcome to the real world, because you know there's going to be problems in the classroom. Even with great procedures and good structure and everything, when a person does make a mistake, you want to take them, give them a warning if possible, separate them from the group, forfeit their privileges. This is really, maybe they're not on the computer, maybe they don't have their electronic device, maybe they're not constructing a bridge, whatever it may be. Take some of those privileges away. They can learn in other ways. You need a discipline buddy, somebody next door, or maybe a student needs a timeout, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, take them over there. Maybe they can just sit there and cool down a little bit. It'll help you as well. You need to make that parent contact. Probably the most important thing. Once you do it, you'll feel a lot better about it, and most of the time it solves the problem. The last thing you want to try to do is get administration involved. Something that I learned early on in my career, and I've seen a lot of other teachers, is you really don't want to get admin involved unless it's a major offense, fighting, bullying, something like that. But if once you do, then you've lost your authority. Basically what you're saying to that student is, well, you can't handle them anymore. And what will happen, they will just push you, and they know that what's going to happen? Well, they're just going to go down to admin. And that's really not what we want. There's definitely times you have to do that, but that's really not, if we can prevent that, that's the best thing. So there's a few tips, and hopefully it'll help you out a little bit with your classroom management procedures that you have. Have fun and enjoy the kids. They are special.